In my interview with Lenny White, Lenny remarked that he knew how to create music before he knew how to play it. He had a feel for music that didn't come from just reading notes on a page. And as an example of this sensitivity, he tells the story of how Miles Davis directed him for his role in the recording session for Bitches Brew. So Miles told this young and eager Lenny to be salt in a stew. And Lenny took that direction from Miles and performed his role just as Miles wanted him to. Now, connecting that deeply to music, that's a tough concept to convey, especially to a young musician who probably needs to hear it the most. So I asked my AI, Jazzmaster Chat, which uses these interviews and my books as its brain, how that idea of musical sensitivity could be communicated to, let's say, a young high school student or early college student. And it provided a great answer. But first, hear Lenny talk about this.
Miles was a master at being able to go and listen to musicians and say, okay, I think I could get him to do something that he is not hearing. But he's open enough to hear it because I don't know what I want yet. But in him, I know that I could ask, and I think that he would be able to give it to me. I mean, that's for all the musicians that played in his groups. John Coltrane to everybody, Tony Williams to everybody. I learned how to create music before I learned how to play it. Most musicians learn how to play music and don't know anything about creating it. Because all their lives they've been, a piece of paper has been put in front of them and said, this is a scale, this is how you play this. And when you do that and you put the music in front of them, they can play great stuff. And as long as you do that, they're great. If you take the music away and say, do this, they don't know what to do. And so that was a situation for me where the first time I got an opportunity to make a record and do this and do things that, you know, were deemed to be professional, and I had a master say to me, think of this as a big pot of stew. I want you to be salt. He didn't put a piece of paper and say, paradiddle, flam, long 9-stroke roll, and tacit. No. And he didn't say, you know, play some paradiddle. He didn't say that. He said, I want you to be salt. So he gave me a scenario, and I had to use whatever musical knowledge that I had at that time to emulate what he asked me to do. But if you think about it, the great composers, great classical composers, they wrote music to define scenarios. Night on Ball Mountain, Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies. It wasn't a tune called Vimeo. What does Vimeo mean? Sugar Plum. So they took images that were in their heads and used musical notes to create these images. And then when they said this is what it is, when you heard it for the first time, you said, oh, wow, yeah, I get it. That's going back again to making notes like colors, painting pictures with notes. So Miles said to me, be salt. I had to I had to make salt, you know?
Now here's the translation of the idea of knowing music deeper than just spots and dots on a page and how it could be communicated to a young music student. And this is provided by Jazzmaster Chat. Imagine you are learning to cook. While having a recipe, like sheet music, is a fantastic guide, Truly great chefs develop an inner sense of how flavors blend, how ingredients work together, and what each dish needs, even without a recipe. This is how you should approach music. Lenny White learned from Miles Davis that making music is about feeling, intuition, and understanding the role of each instrument in the ensemble, much like knowing how to taste and adjust a dish without relying on a step-by-step recipe. Miles asked Lenny to be salt, meaning he needed Lenny to add just the right touch to enhance the music without overpowering it. Here's how you can start to develop your own musical sensitivity. 1. Understand the essence. Your sheet music is only a starting point. Dive into the essence of the music. Imagine what the piece should feel like. How does it make you feel? What story is it telling? 2. Listen intently. Spend time listening to exemplary recordings of the piece. Notice the nuances that aren't written down. How do the performers bring the piece to life? 3. Embrace your role. Whether you're leading or supporting, understand your role within the ensemble. Being a supportive player, like salt in a dish, can be as crucial as being a soloist. 4. Communicate and react. Music is a conversation. Be aware of your fellow musicians. Respond to their cues and be ready to adjust your playing to blend, support, or stand out when necessary. 5. Develop your taste. Just as chefs taste frequently while cooking, play around with dynamics, articulation, and phrasing during your practice. Develop a keen sense for what works best for the music. 6. Feel the music. Beyond technical proficiency, let yourself feel the music. Convey emotions genuinely through your instrument, much like a painter uses color to evoke feelings. By adopting these ideas, you'll move from merely playing notes to truly making music. You'll become an invaluable part of a musical experience, just as Lenny White was when he internalized Miles Davis's simple and profound direction.